Hi all, I'm Priya Sathi and welcome to Building Systems of Intelligence with Power BI and Azure Data. I'm a group product manager in Power BI. Super excited to be here today at Ignite with you. So let's get started and have some fun. I'm going to start talking about our Power BI vision and roadmap. I do encourage you to watch Arun Ulag's featured session on our vision and roadmap, where he goes through all of the details on our roadmap. But for those of you that missed that session, let me just talk a little bit about what is our vision. So our vision here is to drive a data culture. So we enable everyone to make every decision at scale based on data. Data culture is about everyone, and our job at Power BI is to make sure we have the capabilities in Power BI to empower every individual. And we do that by building amazing data experiences that are driven by AI. Data culture is also about every decision, and our job is to empower every team. And we really integrate capabilities where teams work in Microsoft Teams and integrate these where decisions are being made in Office, Microsoft Office tools. And data culture is for any scale, empowering every organization like yourself to scale and build modern enterprise BI, build on capabilities of governance and scalability. Now, I'm going to spend the rest of my time here on this outermost circle, going through the capabilities of governance and scalabilities. If you're interested in learning more about the capabilities of amazing data experiences and everywhere decisions are made, I would ask you guys to watch Kim Manus' session around driving a data culture with Power BI and Teams. So let's talk about Power BI capabilities. Now, a lot of what I'm going to talk about is really in Power BI Premium. And late last year, we announced the availability of our Premium Gen 2 platform. So I'm going to do a little bit of walkthrough of what this next generation Premium platform gives you. So when we announced Premium Gen 2, we brought 4 things to you. One is we brought in a new flexibility with the licensing model. And not only could you license by capacity, which has existed for the last few years since Premium's been around, but we also brought you the capabilities to license by user. And I'm going to talk about some really exciting stuff here. And then this Gen 2 platform is based on a new shared infrastructure. So we're able to bring up to 16x performance boost. We also brought to you capabilities of autoscaling, and I'm going to be super excited to talk about these autoscaling capabilities that give you the ability to scale your capacity when and as you need it. And lastly, Gen 2 gives you consistent and reliable cost management. So let's talk about these. If you've been using Premium Gen 2 or just Power BI Premium, you probably know about all these great premium features. And these have been available in the by capacity licensing model for the last few years. You buy a premium capacity, a P1 at $5,000 or a P2 or P3. Now, what I'm really excited about is the premium per user capability that we're bringing to you. So it's just a new licensing model, but all these great premium features that help you build modern enterprise BI are coming to you at a per user licensing model. Stuff like XMLA support for dataset management, paginated reports for creating those highly formatted and pixel-perfect reports, our no-code data prep capabilities, our AI capabilities like text analytics and image detection, our application lifecycle management via deployment pipelines. And not just that, but dataset size limits that help you scale not just millions of rows of data, but the billions and even trillions of rows of data. And I'm super excited to announce the pricing of Premium per user today. I know you guys have been waiting for this moment. And our pricing for Premium per user, standalone is $20 per user per month, or as an add-on to Pro, $10 per user per month, or add-on to E5, $10 per user per month. And what I'm also excited to announce today is Premium per user will be generally available to you for purchase starting April 2nd this year. So if you aren't already trying premium features or haven't already signed up for premium per user, get started today with a free trial. It's very easy. Just take an existing workspace and go to the settings and move it to premium per user and make it a premium per user workspace and use all those great premium features that I've been talking about. Next, let's talk about Gen 2 performance. So we told you last year that you will get up to a 16x performance boost. And let's go through this. I have a simulation video here that I'm going to show you what performance is like on the Gen 1 platform and what performance is like on the Gen 2 platform. So let's play this video really quick here. So what you see on the left-hand side is a report that's rendering on the Gen 1 platform. And what you see on the right-hand side is that exact same report running on the Gen 2 platform. What you're seeing here is that the one on the left, which is on Gen 1, is taking about 4 seconds or so. And the one on the right is taking about 2.5 seconds. It's the exact same report, which is going quite as much faster, and you're getting that performance boost with this Gen 2 platform. So not only is it about the simulation, but let me tell you a little bit about what customers have been telling us. So customers like Rockwell, who've been with us since day one of Premium Gen 2 Preview, are attesting to the fact that they've moved their heaviest production workloads to Premium Gen 2, and their users have been blown away by this increased performance. Customers like Avanade are seeing significantly faster query durations for these key reports in the organization. Not only that, they're seeing far more refresh successes and improved reliability. And customers like Standard Bank have moved some of their key data sets onto the Gen 2 platform, are seeing better refresh times, and are also seeing increased refresh rates and increased performance overall. So this is what we're seeing with Premium Gen 2 performance. So today, what I'm also excited is I talked about Autoscale late last year. I'm bringing that feature to you. So let's talk about what is Autoscale. Why do you need Autoscale? So think about the scenario. You've got a premium capacity and you've got users that are loving the reports and your usage keeps growing. Now, at some point, your capacity is going to start overloading because the number of users that have increased, and those are unplanned for. Think about your Monday morning scenario. You have a huge spike in usage. Think about your end of quarter scenario, seasonal scenarios, huge spike in usage. Now, what Autoscale brings to you, it's an opt-in feature. You opt into it. We give you the ability to scale automatically without buying a new capacity. So one single vCore at a time. Power BI will automatically add these cores, and you can charge it to your Azure subscription. So let me show you exactly how that's done. Here's a quick rendering that shows you how to do this. If you know the Azure portal, go into Azure, set up your Azure pay-as-you-go subscription, and you come into Power BI and you just tell Power BI what is that subscription, what is that resource group that you want to charge these vCores to, and whenever there's a spike, Power BI will automatically add that vCore. You can limit the number of vCores as well. You don't want this to go infinite. You limit it, set a threshold, and we will go up to that limit, and we will charge you at $85 per vCore for 24 hours. And when we sense in that 24-hour period that we don't need that vCore, your spike has gone down, then we automatically remove that vCore as well. Now, one of the things you guys had asked me about is you said, well, what about notifications? Well, we know when we're about to autoscale. And you know what we're bringing to you with the autoscale feature is exactly that. As an admin, you go into the portal and you will be able to see these notifications that tell you autoscale has either reached the maximum number of cores that you've set a threshold of, or you can also see these toasts that pop up in the admin portal that tell you that you're autoscaled or you're about to autoscale. So you know when this is going to happen. So it's very, very clear and transparent to you. Next, I talked about the detailed utilization analytics, and today you have available exactly that utilization report that you've been asking me for, so you can do consistent and reliable cost management. Here's an example of what you're going to be able to see with the utilization report. You'll be able to see all of the spikes in the capacity. I can pick a particular time slice, and in that time slice, I can go look at what workspace, what report, what users used what usage. It's very, very consistent, and it's reliable. And you can do cost management, whether you're trying to do cross-departmental billing, whether you're just trying to do cost analysis, future planning, all of this available to you via this utilization analytics report. So if you haven't already, then get started with Premium Gen 2. Super easy, seamless, it's single-click enablement, and I promise you it's zero downtime to your users. This is what customers have told us during preview as well. Go into your Premium Gen 1 capacity and just click that Enable button. We automatically move you to Gen 2. Your user should not see any downtime. Many customers told us it took them less than 30 seconds to move to Gen 2. So do it today. Okay. So now that you know about this awesome Gen 2 platform, let's get into some of these key premium features. And I really want to hone in on our premium capabilities with Azure Data that let you build modern enterprise systems of intelligence. And it's a lot of capabilities, and I'm not going to be able to cover it in the time that we have today, but I'm going to talk about a few key ones here today. Let's start off with connecting, transforming, and prepping your data. It's the first step in your journey to building a system of intelligence, right? In Power BI, you can connect to hundreds of data sources. I'm not going to talk about that today. We've got tons of connectors, and we keep adding connectors. So I'm excited to talk about our visual data prep capabilities. Now, it's very easy to connect to your data in Power BI, and we've got hundreds of connectors. I'm not going to talk about that today. What I'm excited to talk about is the visual data prep capabilities we brought to you in December into public preview. Now, what this lets you do is create these data prep steps using a visual interface. So you don't need to write a single line of code. Here's a simple example. I've got a customer table. I've got data in an orders table. I want to take the data and I want to merge it. I want to do some filters. And I do all of this just using this visual interface that we've called the diagram view. And it's really easy to do all of this with just a few clicks. And gone are the days where you had to write those thousands of lines of code. And at every intermediate step, I can also see my results rendering at the bottom. So try this visual data prep if you haven't already tried it. Next, I want to talk about another very important part of data prep. You might want to actually bring some AI or machine learning into your data prep. So for example, a very common thing that you might want to do is look at all of your customer emails, and you might want to do some text analytics. Why? Because I might want to understand customer sentiment. I might want to understand key phrases, extract out key phrases. And we bring that to you without writing a single line of code with our cognitive services integration within Power BI. So you can add, here as an example, text analytics to your analytics. So I can look at that customer email, I can do sentiment analysis, I can extract out key phrases, and I can use that in building the reports that empower my users to make those business decisions. And in addition to this, we also have no-code machine learning capabilities. Now, think about scenarios where you might actually want to easily build predictive models in Power BI without writing a single line of code. You might have data scientists in the organization that actually do build data science models, that do build ML models. But if you don't, here's an easy way to do it. I just tell Power BI that I want to use automated machine learning, and Power BI gives me the algorithms that might make sense based on my data. In this example, what you're seeing here is I'm doing a sales opportunity analysis where I'm saying, is the opportunity at risk to win or lose? I just point Power BI to my data. Power BI says, I know the algorithm to pick. Power BI says, I know the fields I need to choose for this machine learning model. And it's all automated. And that's it, 5 clicks. I've built a machine learning model called AutoML. And now I've added that intelligence to my report, right? Now, I do know that you might have data scientists in the organization that have actually used Azure Machine Learning and built ML models. You can very easily leverage those here as well. Just tell your users to get access to those ML models. Once they have permissions, it's just as easy as anything else I've shown you thus far, go into Power BI and just point to that Azure ML API, and you have that available here as well to build those intelligent reports. Last thing I'm going to talk about here in this section is integration with Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Now, one of the things, the beauty of Power BI is that with this integration, we let you very quickly prep data into the common data model format. For those of you who don't know what's the common data model format, it's an industry standard format that we've built over the years working with very large organizations. So you have industry definitions of sales orders, purchase orders, customers, and their entities and their fields, right? In Power BI, you can prep your data quickly leveraging these models, but then you can also create reusable building blocks of data prep and then store all of this in Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Now, you may say, why would I want to do that? Very simple. I might have other applications that know how to read the CDM model or know how to access Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Dynamics does that. And there's several Azure services that do that as well. So that's exactly why you might want to do it. You get that data interoperability. Now, I want to switch over. We talked all about data prep. I want to switch over and talk about our deep integration with Azure Synapse Analytics. If you don't know about Azure Synapse Analytics, it's our modern data warehouse. And so Power BI has deeply integrated with Azure Synapse, and we've brought you a lot of capabilities over the last year. So for example, you can very easily create Power BI reports and data sets based on that big data. We're not talking, 1 megabyte, gigabytes, or even 1 terabyte of data. We're talking terabytes of data. Very easy to create these reports on terabytes of data in the data warehouse. What you might know, if you're a business analyst or a data engineer, that performance on those trillions and billions of rows of data is key to making your users happy. Now, the thing that many of you tell me about is, performance tuning is an art. You have to know all these queries that the reports are generating, and then you got to know, okay, based on those queries, what do I go, materialize as views in my data warehouse? There's a lot of back and forth. That's time consuming. But what we've done between Power BI and Synapse, we've actually made this easy. We have actually made it automated. You don't need to do anything. What we've done is we actually automatically tune this, and it's based on adaptive learning. What does that mean? Power BI knows these reports that users are opening, and we know these query patterns. So we automatically detect the materialized views that need to be created in the data warehouse for optimal performance. We send those recommendations over to Synapse. Synapse automatically creates these materialized views, and next time that report is opened with that query is directed to these materialized views. And what do your users get? Much, much superior performance. Let me show it to you. Here is a demo that shows you exactly that. I have the sales report. It's giving me monthly sales summary, and it's actually running on billions of data in the Synapse Analytics. And you can see I'm using my handy-dandy performance analyzer tool. Over here on the right-hand side, you'll see the performance. And you can see this is taking about in the order of 10,000 milliseconds. What I'm now doing is I'm in the Azure Synapse Studio portal, and you can see what I'm going to do is turn on my performance accelerator. Right? Now, I'm showing you some SQL code here, but there is actually a UI that's coming to you, and this is going to be in public preview. So I turn on this performance accelerator. What you will see is those queries, as you're starting to hit Synapse, start getting materialized. There's a common pattern, we detect the pattern, and this is adaptive. We learn over time. So next time I go refresh that exact same report on those billions of rows of data, you can see it renders in not 10,000 milliseconds, but about 2,000 milliseconds. That's a significant improvement, 500% improvement. Next, let me talk about monitoring. So you've got your Power BI reports built on Azure Synapse. You're getting fantastic performance. But then you want to actually monitor this entire solution end to end. How do you do that? Well, the way you do that today is not easy. But we've made it easy to do by bringing your own Azure Log Analytics. So you can monitor performance all the way from Power BI, the open reports, to the queries that are executed, all the way down to the Synapse data warehouse using Azure Log Analytics. So in Power BI, you can go and set up your own Azure Log Analytics. Very simple. We support it both at the tenant level or at an individual workspace level. So once you connect your Azure Log Analytics workspace, what you will be able to do is go evaluate performance. Now, Power BI starts sending all of the performance telemetry into that Log Analytics workspace. What Synapse also does, if it's associated with an Azure Log Analytics, sends all of the performance telemetry from Synapse also to that Log Analytics workspace. But there is one magic that we do, one piece of magic, and that is really the correlation between the Power BI queries and the Synapse queries. And we create correlations such that when you want to go and evaluate your performance, report performance end to end, and know where that performance bottleneck is, you will be able to do it. And here's a really simple example where I have that Log Analytics workspace open, and I'm writing a query here, and I'm able to look at my performance and understand my performance end to end. What you will also be able to do, and I'm not showing it here, is actually drill down, and not just from the Power BI report, but the actual Power BI query. Let's say you're using some DAX, down to that DAX, and then all the way down to the queries generated into that data warehouse, the select star statement that is generated in that data warehouse, and be able to look at the performance bottleneck. Now, this is all great, but what if your users have the need to create paginated reports? Now, paginated reports, this is a great workload in Power BI Premium as well. So think about those scenarios where you've had the need for pixel-perfect reports, highly formatted reports. Let's say you want to send out an invoice. It needs to be perfectly formatted, perfectly rendered in that PDF format. Then you need a capability such as paginated reports. What we did is took all of those SSRS capabilities, the SQL Server reporting capabilities, and brought it into the cloud as paginated reports into Power BI Premium. Now you can author these, you can embed these. So you have your applications, you can embed these very easily into your applications, and you can distribute them to thousands of millions of users at scale. And we support multiple formats, PDF, PowerPoint, you name it, and with role-level security. Why is that important? Back to those reports. If I'm a sales manager and I send out a sales report to my entire organization, I might only want my sales managers to see the report of their accounts. And that's why that's important. But we support exactly that. So, with that, let me conclude this. So one thing that you may not be ready to move to the cloud, but hey, you've been using SQL Server reporting services and analysis services workloads on-prem for a long time. And what we have done is brought VMs into the Azure Marketplace such that you can use your Azure Hybrid benefit to deploy these VMs. We support SQL Server 2016 to 19, and we are making it really, really easy for you to take that first step towards migrating to the cloud and then making your journey towards fully SaaS Power BI Premium. Okay, we've talked about building great reports, great performance, but then the last thing you're going to ask me as well, Priya, but what about security and governance? So let's talk about this. I'm going to spend a few minutes here, and then we're going to wrap up. Now, Power BI helps protect your data. We have data residency capabilities. We've got incredible number of certifications. We've got network security. We've got data encryption and data loss protection. Let's talk about each of these. Data residency. Power BI today is in over 54 data centers around the world. Largest footprint from a BI platform perspective. And we have multi-geo capacities, so you can adhere to those data residency requirements in your region, and including the most secure environment for the US government. Compliance. Again, IT, admins, really care about this. We all have to care about this. We have the most number of certifications, 119 to be precise, and they're not only the local certifications, but are also international certifications. So most number of certifications in the industry. And security. Let me talk about security here. We've birthed a lot of really interesting features over the last couple of years so that you can bring your most sensitive data, your most sensitive user data, PII, PHI, into Power BI and be rest assured. So we have features like compute isolation, encryption at rest, encryption in transit. And what super excited to talk about is the major security investments we've made. We've heard you, and we are bringing to you the capabilities to enable secure connectivity via Azure Private Links. We also have capabilities via Azure Networking for service tags. Again, you guys asked for it, we brought it to you. We also will be, in the next month, bringing you guys support for Azure VNets. So think about, I have my data in Azure Synapse Analytics and you want Power BI to securely connect to that. Well, we have that exact capability supported via VNets, and that's coming to you by end of March. And then we've also brought capabilities to bring your own keys so you can manage your own encryption via Azure Key Vault. Lots of great encryption. Next is, I want to talk about data loss protection. We really care about sensitive data and making sure that data isn't lost along the way. So we give you the capabilities to protect this end to end. First of all, users are using Power BI Desktop. Those business users can apply sensitivity labels. They know their data, they know what's sensitive or not sensitive in their data. They can classify and protect those PBX files, put those sensitivity labels, right? Highly confidential, confidential, not confidential. And they can publish these reports. Those labels are carried forward into the Power BI service with that protection. What we also do is a deep integration with Microsoft Information Protection, so that those sensitivity labels are applied to any Power BI asset. Now, you know our users. Users are so used to wanting to download the data into Excel, analyze in Excel. But what we do here in Power BI is that sensitivity label of highly confidential that was applied is also transferred down into that export, into Excel, into PowerPoint, into PDF, so that data is not getting into the hands of somebody that's not supposed to get access to that data. Lastly, let me talk about end-to-end protection, all the way from Azure to Power BI to Office. So let's say I have a SQL data warehouse, a Synapse, and I have sensitivity labels that I'm applying using Azure Purview, the data catalog. Then all those labels are inherited not just directly from Preview into Synapse, but down into Power BI, and from Power BI into any downstream report, and into Office. Any user exporting to PowerPoint or Office will also be subject to those exact same sensitivity labels. And that's it, folks. Not only are we making sure we're meeting all your needs of scale and performance as an enterprise, but also meeting all your governance and regulatory needs as well. And, you know, as admins, you'll be happy to know that we do integrate deeply with MCAS. So you can set your roles, and so you can detect if there's somebody trying to download sensitive data, so we block malicious intent or download malicious downloads as well. Truly making sure that you're protected end to end. Okay, now I'm gonna wrap up, and here's my call to action to you. I talked about Arun's Logs features session, driving a data culture in the Power BI vision and roadmap. Watch that if you haven't. You'll get a lot more from that session as well. And then I also talked about watching Kim Manis's session, Driving a Data Culture with Power BI and Microsoft Teams. And then what I really want you to do here, get started with Premium Gen 2 and Premium per user. I have the QR code and the URL right here for you, so get started, folks, today. And with that, I want to thank you all for your time and for watching my session, and I hope you got a lot of insights about how to build systems of intelligence with Power BI and Azure Data. And thank you very much. Be safe, be healthy. See you next time.